What's going on, family? Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews. And today we're going to be discussing, as we continue on this journey with pretty much serious movies and serious topics, we're going to be talking about A Man Called Otto. And you can catch this movie on Netflix, but I caught it months ago. And I decided to give it a review now because, man, movies like this really put you to think. They actually put you to think about, especially when you start to age. You know, although I'm only 36, to some that's old, but I'm pretty young, right? And this movie took me up and down because not only it stars Tom Hanks, which is obviously, you already know he's a legend. He's a certified, bona fide star. And if he never does a movie again, he's just a legend. Not only with his acting ability, but his voice as Buzz Lightyear and his Pixar films and stuff like that. But this movie was truly epic in multiple ways. And I just want to just preface by saying, if I love my wife dearly, I can't picture me without her. She's my heart, she's my soul, she's the apple of my eye. She's somebody that really changed my life and changed my perspective in a lot of things. And she gave me the most beautiful gift that any woman can give someone. And she gave me a beautiful daughter who I would die for. Gave me a beautiful son who I would die for, and I will kill for my family. And she's that figure that keeps me solid. I think every man in this lifetime needs one. You got certain men that they want to bone everything, and that's great. I've been there in life, but I'm just very fortunate to have her. She's definitely my right rib. And while watching this film, there's a lot of things that happen. And if you haven't seen the film, spoiler alert, you can log off now and come back to the review a little later. And give you a moment. I'll see you later. We're going to continue now. With that being said, this character of Otto loved his wife dearly, ends up losing his wife. And, he's living in a house on a closed off oval in the corner of a street. And he's not your typical guy, lives in a neighborhood where, by association, he has like a high rank in his mind, because he's kind of the unofficial watchdog from everything from vehicle rules to parking to animal control, or basically whatever irritates him in that day, in that time. And you figure out within the first 5-10 minutes of the film that he's newly jobless because he was forced to retire from an auto plant because things are changing. Technology is really taking a hold of certain things. A lot of the older people in his job, you can tell, retired, and there's an influx of new and young workers. And you start to watch the film and you see that they throw a little party for him, a little cake, and he could care less. Believably, you can tell he's friendless, and it's by choice. And then you come to find out that he's a widower, and for many months he's been without his wife. And that's the part where I was like, wow, that's crazy. What would I do, God forbid, if I lost my wife? And it'd be devastating. That's something that you truly never get over. You could be healthy as hell in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and if your significant other passed, you'll probably go right behind them, just because of that connection, man. I truly believe you can die from a broken heart. And what he does it's crazy. He approaches life very different. He starts his various attempts to commit suicide, which is a very, very touchy and important subject, with efficiency, only to be interrupted throughout the film by his newest neighbors, which move in, and they're very young, they're a very spirited family, led by this sharp-tongued pregnant woman named Marisol, and she's a standout of the film. I think she's excellent, and she's well needed in this story along Tom Hanks. You know, having never saw the original source material, this movie is actually a remake or kind of like a reinvented version of another movie, I believe from Sweden, a French movie. And I think Hollywood feared that, you know, there'd be some kind of trepidation, you know, just being lazy with a film like this. And if it was going to be saw or seen in the way it was taken, was it going to be a gimmick to cast the legendary Tom Hanks as a grumpy man? After all, he's one of the nicest men on the planet from what we hear. And he literally landed the role and played the part to his extent, you know, which was awesome. And I found this film to be very captivating and very emotionally draining from the upstart. I remember watching this movie with my pops, and we didn't finish watching it because it got kind of emotional. Tom Hanks, man, whatever he touches is just gold. You know, he's wonderful. As you know, he's one of those characters where you just can't stay angry, or you can't stay happy, or you can't stay sad at him for too long, because he's always doing something that's gonna outdo the next scene or the next movie or the next line. And he has a very, very titular character. And although he has a very standoffish persona in the film, his backstory is very sad, you know, and you realize quite quickly why he has a problem with the world in general. And there's a lot of things that are going on around him. He dislikes the situations of many people, not only his own, not necessarily the people around him, but just the way life is. When this character of Marisol arrives, the film becomes very effervescent. And like us as the audience, Otto can't help but be drawn in by this wonderful, loving mother, loving person, no matter how hard he tries. You know, she comes to him and towards the beginning of the film, you know, offers food, and you know, she does that throughout the film. But this film carries a very dark side to it as well. And the film, as the film progresses, you know, you realize that, you know, Otto, he's given up. You know what I mean? The fact that he's motionless is a testament to it. In fact, you know, he makes the film that little more bittersweet in many ways. He helps people, and then he helps them some more, and he continues his various attempts to still commit suicide and fails. And this movie definitely reminded me of 7 Pounds with Will Smith, where he knew eventually he was going to die by his own hand, but he wanted to perform these generous acts and blessings towards people, because it made him feel as if he was either going to be enlightened or go to heaven, or he just wanted to leave this world better. And the era of his suicide eventually is evident in the narrative and overall the feel of the film. You know, what really got me and what was really enjoyable to me was the flashbacks in the film when, you know, they show his wife. And what I do love about the film is they never show his wife older. They always show her in a young version, you know, meaning that he's always seen her like that from the first time that they've met. It makes sense, you know. As me and my wife go on, right, in age and stuff like that, I would never see her as she ages. I would always see her as the first time I met her, you know. And I gotta admit, I was brought to tears, man, several times during the film, because I didn't get to see this. I didn't get to see a trailer or anything like that. You know, I've just heard of the movie, and I went to see it. And you think that it's about, you think it's kind of a comedy, but no, this movie was definitely a dramedy, you know. And you think that Tom Hanks is playing this old man, and you're gonna get laughs. And at the end of the day, it's more of a tearjerker than anything. You're gonna laugh in certain instances, but you'll be in it for a shock, because this is not a film for laughs. Honestly, there's some funny moments, but it's not an out LOL kind of movie. You know what I mean? There's much more to it, and I absolutely love this movie because, you know, in every scene he was very engaging and very heartwarming in his very cold way at the same time, very ironic, you know. And I wasn't sure what the producers of the film, thought when they were doing this movie, because I think they knocked it out the park, hook, line, sinker, man, because it packs such an emotional punch where it has a lot of good grief, and a lot of people, from what I was reading, try to compare it with their classic, the Swedish version of this film, and it just didn't, make sense to me why people were trying to kill the film. But I have to give the credit where it's due. A heartwarming story, about this unlikely friendship, and his friendship obviously, changed someone's life for the better. Although he does, like I said, spoiler alert, commit suicide. It changed his perspective and his life in general. You know what I mean? Even making him a godfather in the movie was crazy. Mariana Trevino, who plays the pregnant woman, Marisol in general, is a rock for him, despite the initial friction between them. And the pair eventually not only become friends, but she ignites his passion for life in general. The movie to me was very delightful. She's the comedy of the film, and he definitely brings the drama, and it's full of joy and hilarity, even with her husband in a lot of instances, but also with the moments of emotion, that heartfelt adrenaline. The story's frank. I think it's unflinching. It's unapologetic, and I think they explore a lot of different topics. Being genuine. The power of being friendly. Suicide, which is very touching, and they both give, fantastic performances. Just thinking back on this film, this movie has a lot of highlights. It has the comedic range while also demonstrating deep emotional depths of a man attempting to find companionship in a world where he knows he's no longer going to find it because that love, that world is no longer here. And he doesn't conform to this elevation or elevated expectation, because he's so obsessed with rules and that kind of engagement. So the movie is wonderfully placed also. The cinematography is very unique in a lot of ways. And it also deals with, certain instances of homosexuality. There's a character in the film where he helps as well, That's a transgendered boy who is homeless. He even lets sleep on the couch, and eventually, before he passes, he knows that that person needed a car. Gave him his car, and not only gave him his car, but taught him how to drive the car, and also taught the lady how to drive stick for the first time. So it demonstrated a lot of different things. The direction that Mark Forster decided to go in. Going in this film, I think was awesome. He brings out the best in his cast, and it does help when you have Tom Hanks. But I think this is a must-watch also for anyone looking for light relief in some kind of way. And if you're going through this, if you're an older man, an older woman, or just a person in general that is going through this right now as we speak, man, I feel for you, and I think this is the movie for you to see, because it also gives a very poignant exploration of life and how much life you have. You understand? It just doesn't, what I like about the film also, it doesn't focus on suicide. It kind of makes fun of it at times. It's like, yeah, it's a thought, it's sad, some people actually go through it, and obviously he went through it, but it took him so many times to the point where it's like God was telling him, what are you doing? You understand? You have so much more to live for. But sometimes the thought and the feeling of love is so strong that, it takes you. But at the end of the day, he passes because of a, undisclosed issue that he had, and suicide. He never, eventually dies from the suicide. He dies naturally, and it provides a thought-provoking look at life, love, and the importance of friendship. And with friendship, I think things are made to go positive. You know, greatness is in each and one of us, and sometimes we just need that extra push using, class, humor, relatability with people could take you far in life. You know, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know, literally. And I don't mean that in a reference form. I mean that in, I love this person because they set me on fire in such a positive way that I want to live. And that's what this movie's about, you know? And I think you should definitely watch it eventually. Me and my father obviously finished the movie separately, but we did speak about it, and this movie will touch your soul, will definitely make a difference, and definitely put a smile on your face. Because although he dies towards the ending, it's a bittersweet way the way he goes. So, see you on the next one.